Hello, we are back with hopefully better lighting and in a flannel because it's July and I want it to be the fall. So we're just gonna pretend that it's not like 90 plus degrees out. I think my neighbor said it's going to get to like 104 with the heat index. But we're just gonna pretend that it's lovely and orange and like 65. Maybe this fan will help with that. But I wanted to do a 1 month update just to let you guys know sort of where I'm at with this whole move and just a few small updates. So, as you know, I moved on June 1st. I almost said July 1st for some reason. Hello. I moved on June 1st. I drove the 16 plus hours to get here, and I've pretty much just spent this whole month settling. I got a new job. Well, I don't know if I've mentioned it on here. Um, it's a new job for me. I might have mentioned a job before. I did not switch jobs since the one I started in June, but I had to get a new job. That was a complicated situation. Prior to moving here, I was working for a mortgage company, one of the biggest in the country, doing some data work for them due to the virus that shall not be named, due to YouTube hating anything that references it.
Maybe she wrote it down.
No, I can't spell it.
Voldemort.
I obviously was working remotely, which I was hoping would just be something that I could continue to do. And I was told that they were going to do everything in their power to allow me to continue working remotely once I moved. But then the day, well, not the day before, about 2 or 3 days before leaving, I got a call saying that, hey, you no longer have a job as of 6/1. Love corporate America. But yeah, so they sort of sprung that on me, tried to play it off like, oh, how did you not know that you wouldn't have a job? And I'm like, because you said that you were gonna try to make it work, and there was no indication that it wouldn't. But yeah, so once they found out that there was really no warning, they tried to save themselves by saying, oh, we can extend it to 7/1. And I was like, okay, great. That only slightly helps because we are in the middle of a pandemic and the job market is sparse, to say the least. At least in terms of jobs that aren't high risk. And as someone who is constantly concerned about my health, I get sick very easily. I was very concerned about going into any sort of job right now that would put me at higher risk. But you gotta do what you gotta do. So, hello. It really wouldn't be one of my videos if we didn't get a feline interruption. I know. But anyways, that same day I immediately got on Indeed and started searching for new jobs because hello, I was leaving in 3 days and I didn't want to come to a new area without any sort of financial security. Yes, they did extend it until 7/1, but what do I do after that? My bills don't just stop after a month. So I got on Indeed. I immediately started applying for jobs, mostly related to the field that I'm going into as a career. If you didn't know, I'm going into forensic counseling. I do want to do both work in the system, ideally with juveniles, but also I plan on having a private practice where I can do. Hello, my love. Can we? Thank you. My own private practice where I can do regular counseling, because if some of you didn't know, forensic counseling is just a specialty within the psychology and counseling field. So my training does allow me to be able to counsel the normal population. I just then have extra training that allows me to do work in the forensic field. So that's my plan with that. I tried looking into nonprofits and some other areas with that. I also applied to other jobs, and about a week after, or no, it wasn't even a week after. Within the week that I got here, I got a call back from one of the jobs that I applied to, and I got a position with a pay upgrade to my old job, and I absolutely love what I'm doing right now. I'm not really going to disclose much about it just because some things I want to keep personal, but I love what I'm doing. It's much more related to my own interests. It's not directly in the forensic field, but it is something I do have a great passion for. And I'm just so happy not only that I don't have to worry about financial instability, but also that I get to do something that's much more related to my field. I will, in a future video, sort of go into a bit of my job history, because my job history has been so sporadic. I mean, I've done work in so many different fields, and it's sort of a complicated resume of randomized skills. Mostly because I would get a job, I would do my best in it, and I'd realize this isn't what I want to be doing. And that sort of makes it hard when I need to find a new job, because once you write off one field, you start to realize that without specified training or the 10 years of experience that some jobs require, you're very limited in what you can do. But I've made it work. I have built a resume that has a lot of different skills that have gotten me some really great jobs. I mean, at 19, I was working for one of the largest mortgage companies in the country, as I said. Or at 20. At 19, I was working in a data lab, which is what got me the job in corporate America. And it also taught me that I'm not a fan of corporate America. So I'm going to try to stay out of that as much as possible in the future. But I digress. This video is supposed to be on my 1 month update of where things are. So, I've pretty much spent this last month taking one summer class, which ends this upcoming week. Right now, It is Sunday the something. But the class ends this week. I've been working and I've been nesting, which has been really nice because when I first moved out of my parents' house, this isn't the first time that I've lived away from my parents. I have been out of their house for 3 years now, all through undergrad. I had an apartment by myself, and at that time, being 18, I pretty much had, I don't know, several $100s to furnish my apartment. And so it was a lot of garage sale stuff and a lot of mismatched items that I sort of just said, oh, well, one day we'll have a design that seems cohesive. And now that I'm a bit older, not all that much richer, I am really trying my best to have a cohesive theme throughout not only the house, but in each room. So I have been doing a lot of interior design. It's nowhere near complete. I don't think I'm going to do a tour until it feels more complete. I have been acquiring stuff slowly and really taking into consideration how I want things to look. A lot of attempting to match the colors that are already in here. And really just fully taking in the fact that this is a fresh start for me and I can really do almost whatever I want with it. So yeah, I mean, even behind me we have my reading area, which I need a chair for. And I think I'm gonna put a rug there. How do we feel about rugs on carpet? I am very iffy on it. I sort of think it seems counterintuitive isn't the word that I'm looking for. I don't know. This is usually where I would text my boyfriend because he is an English major, and I would be like, hey, can you be my dictionary right now? I don't know what I'm trying to say. But that's fine. We don't need to know words. It's not like any of you are really going to critique me on that. Or maybe you will. I don't know. But I'm thinking about putting a rug there. I do want a fake plant to go in between those two bookshelves. I don't particularly want a real plant just because, one, I'm afraid of getting a bunch of water on the carpet when I'm watering it, and two, I'm concerned about forgetting to water it, and I'd feel really bad if I killed a plant, which is another fact that we will address later because I am growing some plants on the front porch, and I have potentially killed my lettuce. Well, not killed it, it's just I've stunted its growth, I believe. I don't know, it hasn't grown in like 2 weeks, and it's just sort of little baby lettuce leaves that are more of a garnish than anything I could use for salads, which was the original goal. I wanted to be very living off the land, which I can't really do considering I don't have any acreage or a legitimate garden, but I wanted to have some fruits and vegetables that I could just go outside and make meals out of. But with the lettuce, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. I do have a strawberry plant that's growing amazingly. I have gotten a good amount of fruit from that so far. I believe even today I have some that I can go pick. I might go do that later. I typically go and check on the garden in the morning to go garden. I typically go check on it in the morning so I can water it and take any plants that are done growing. So I should check on that later. I don't know why I didn't do that today. I think waking up a little bit later, which later for me now has been like 10:30, which I feel very weird about. When I was in my late teens, I feel as though sleeping in meant, oh, we're gonna sleep till noon. And now sleeping in for me is like, oh shit, it's 10:30 and I haven't gotten up yet. I feel like I've wasted half the day. Although this morning I had a super weird moment. I had put my watch on upside down after I got out of the shower last night, and I didn't realize it. And so, I don't know if you can see what a beauty guru move. There are no numbers, so when it was upside down and I checked the time when I woke up, it looked like it was like 4 or 5 p.m. And I was like, I knew it wasn't a.m. because it was light out. And so I was like, is it really 4 p.m.? Did I just sleep the entire day? I was so concerned. But then I looked more closely and I noticed the logo was upside down. And I was like, okay. I just put it on upside down and I didn't waste half my day. I wasted part of it by just hanging out and watching YouTube videos this morning, but I didn't sleep half the day. So, other than the garden and ruining my lettuce, in terms of other updates, I am slowly exploring the area more. Tomorrow I have to take Monty in for another checkup. Nothing's wrong with him. He's still doing great, but they wanted to do his annual exam after he was feeling better from his illness last month, and so now that he's doing great. Where did he go? Okay, he's behind me. Now that he's doing better, we're just gonna do his annual checkup, and that's gonna be up in Providence. So I think I'm going to spend a little bit of time out there in Providence and explore that because I've only been there once since moving here. And let me tell you, I did not enjoy it. Not because Providence is a bad place or anything. I was just dumb, and I went when my phone was on like 5% battery, and it was on 5% battery by the time I got there. I've been having this problem lately where, due to the poor signal, my phone has been dying and overheating very easily. So it will run out of battery if I'm trying to use the GPS to get anywhere. And so by the time I got to Providence, it was on 5%. I went and walked around, and by the time, well, actually, let me put this caveat in there. I wanted to go to a Macy's there because I wanted to go to their clearance, or what are those called? Like a Nordstrom rack or whatnot, those sort of discounted versions of department stores. So Macy's has theirs, which instead of a Macy's rack is called a Macy's Backstage. And I wanted to go there to look at furniture. This was before I got my futon. I really wanted a couch, which didn't happen. I don't want to go on too many tangents, but I guess I'll slide right into that. So I wanted to go to the Macy's Backstage. Parking in Providence is not the same as parking in Chicago. I can't attest to parking anywhere else because in the times that I've traveled to other major cities such as San Francisco or San Diego, I wasn't driving. And so I pretty much just took Uber when I was in those places. I don't believe I've spent time in New York City. Maybe when I was younger. I just can't remember. But anyways, parking in Providence is something else. I'm very used to the huge blue signs with a P on them to indicate parking. And I didn't really see those in Providence. I don't know if I wasn't looking hard enough, but I could not find parking near this Macy's. Although once I finally walked there, I think I did see a sign. Well, I don't know if I saw the sign for parking, but in leaving, I saw that there was a parking structure. I don't know where that was when I was driving past it, but I had to park a 15-minute walk away. And as you know, my phone was dying. So I was like, I have to remember where I parked or I'm going to get lost. And spoiler alert, I got lost. So I went to this Macy's and we're drinking chai again because why not? I already had my coffee earlier and I didn't want to be overly caffeinated, so we're going with chai right now. But so I went to this Macy's Backstage. I found a beautiful leather couch that was within my price range. And so I went to the salesperson. I was like, I want that couch. Well, first, it was on clearance, and when I was waiting for the salesperson, I overheard the woman who was speaking to him at the time. Thor? That's my neighbor's dog. But I overheard the woman who was there before me saying something about clearance, and I was like, she wants my couch. But luckily she didn't. She wanted something else. I don't know. I think it was a dining table or whatever. But so I was like, I want that couch, which I felt very good about saying because being young in your 20s and being able to make a bigger purchase like that felt really good to go into a department store and be like, yes, I have money and I would like to purchase this fine piece of furniture. The problem is, he told me, you can have it, but we don't deliver. And also, they can only bring it downstairs, but they can't help you load it onto a truck if you go and rent a truck to then take it to your destination. And I was thinking, well, first of all, I've never driven a moving truck or any sort of truck. I mean, I've driven a pickup truck in my past, but I don't think you can fit a full-size couch on a pickup truck. So I've never driven a truck like that. I could have called a family member because I have family up in Massachusetts that have been so kind and offering to help me in this whole process. But I don't know. I was like, that's asking a lot to be like, hey, can you come drive this truck and help me get this couch? And also, I would need several of them because, hello, me and one other person trying to lift a whole couch. I don't think that's a good idea. So I was like, oh, okay. Let me just think about it. And he was like, okay, let me just go finish this sale with the other woman who wanted the other thing. And you can just think about it. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I gave it about 2 seconds of thought and then I skedaddled. So, yeah, I don't know why they didn't have delivery. That didn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't know how many people are willing to go and rent their own truck and find a crew of people to help them with such a feat, but I'm not one of those people. So I ended up finding my futon on Facebook Marketplace, and it ended up really great. I like it. It is a bit small, which is fine. I mean, I don't, especially now, I don't have guests over, so it's not really like I need something massive that seats, like, I don't know, 4 people. I don't know. I think my parents' couch seats that many. I think that's where I got the number 4. But yeah, so anyways, back to the Providence story. So I skedaddled out of there. I could not, for the life of me, remember which exit or entrance I came in from, and so I did not know how to get back to the car because I had memorized sort of where I came from, mostly focusing on landmarks because that's how I've always done it. I'm very directionally challenged. I swear to God, I'm sorry. The pearl on my ring is coming off again, which that's another story for another time. Just how this continuously comes off and how the company I bought it from just sort of says like, oh, well, we can repair it for you. And I'm like, yeah, but it just keeps coming off. Like, I don't want to, like, why would I? First of all, you have to pay for the shipping. So why would I keep shipping it back to you if it's just going to keep breaking? And they offer literally no sort of refunds for that problem. Anyways, so couldn't find the exit so that way I could follow the landmarks back to the car. And at this point, my phone was completely dead. It had gone from 5% to 0. Living near airport problems. It had gone from 5% to 0 within the span of time. I think it died actually once I got to the Macy's. And at that point I was like, I'm never getting back to my car. But I couldn't find the exit that I needed. I knew it was near a cheesecake factory, and so I was like, I just need to find this cheesecake factory. How do I feel about Cheesecake Factory? I've only been there once, and I was not impressed. Anyways, so I essentially, and this Macy's was in an entire shopping center, and so that made it even more complicated because once I did exit and tried to find the Cheesecake Factory, I nearly had to walk around the entire building to figure out where the heck I was going. But I eventually found the Cheesecake Factory. I started backtracking as much as I could. And I got to this one point where I was walking up a hill and I was like, I don't think I came down a hill when I was walking over here. I was like, this is really, like, I don't know what to do. And mind you, this is when the protests were still a major thing. So there were a lot of police around, I think, preparing for the onset of protests, and being multiracial and alone in a city, I didn't necessarily feel comfortable just going up to a police officer and being like, hey, I'm lost, please help. But I also, and that's in part due to my own social anxieties, I don't think I could have asked anyone for help. But especially, I don't think I could have asked the police right now for help, which, that's a terrible feeling, because growing up, I always assumed that you could ask the police for help, and I have received help from the police before, and now being in a time where I don't always feel like it's an option for me, it's a weird place to be. But maybe I'll talk more about my feelings related to that in a future video, but that's just sort of where my headspace was at when I was lost in a city that I had never been to, and I had no idea where my car was. So I eventually saw the sign for the building that I knew my car was near, and I was like, oh my god, thank you. This whole ordeal probably took a half hour for me to find my car. As I said, I was only a 15-minute walk away from the Macy's, so yeah, it took me an extra 15 minutes to find my car, which, to be fair, could have been worse. But it's a terrifying situation to be in, knowing that your phone is dead, you're in a brand new city, you don't know the people, you don't know where you are, and you don't feel like you can ask anyone for help. But I found the parking lot, and once I got to the parking lot, I pretty much just was like, I don't want to hunt anymore. So I just put the car alarm on and followed the sound, which I highly recommend doing that, especially in parking structures. If you don't remember where you parked, just putting on the alarm and following the sound, because I've spent many a times trying to look for my car in parking structures and knowing that I'm on the correct floor, but not knowing where I parked my car. And having a very nondescript car doesn't make it any easier, because, I mean, I'm sure there are at least 50 other black sedans in a parking structure at any given time, so it doesn't make it easy. But I found my car. I immediately put my phone on the charger, and mind you, I was charging my phone on my way to Providence, but due to the overheating and the hot summer sun coming down on it through the windshield, it just overheated faster, and it actually stopped charging, because I don't know if you know, but if your phone gets too hot, it will stop charging to, I don't know, save itself from exploding. So that's why, even though it was on the charger, it still ended up dying. But I put it on the charger. Once I got enough charge, I immediately called my mom, because I was texting her as I was going to Providence, or going to the Macy's specifically, and I was telling her how I was confused about how to get there, because the directions were not easy, and there wasn't a huge sign to find the Macy's. Again, I'm used to blaringly obvious signs of where things are, and so I was texting her telling her how I was like, I'm totally screwed. I don't know where this thing is. And then my phone had died, and I was like, she's going to think that I died. So I immediately called her to let her know that I was okay and expressed just how frustrated I was with the whole situation. But everything was okay. And I charged it long enough to know that I could put on the map, Google Maps, to get back home without it dying in between then. And everything was fine. But I haven't been to Providence since. And now I think I'm going to give it a second chance and just explore. Well, I don't know if I'm going to have time, because you sort of have to stay in the parking lot when you leave your pet at the vet, just with the way things are right now with the social distancing. So I don't know if the appointment will be long enough for me to go and actually explore. Maybe I can just walk up and down the street while I'm waiting. I think I'll have enough time to do for that. Anyways, so that was a long-winded way of sort of telling you guys where I'm at with things. We are still working on it. We as in me. And I guess the cats, but they aren't. Where are you? Hello. We are. Oh. We are still in the process of. I can't tell if this ring light is going to fall over. I'm leaving all of this in here. I don't even care. So, it's a work in progress. It is indeed a new beginning. Also, a quick side note. I am probably going... I don't know if it's going to be next week. I'm going to try to have it done by next week. I'm going to try a new... I mean, this is all new. I can't be like, I'm going to try a new series when... One, I haven't had a series before, and also I have like 4 videos up, so it's not... Every single thing I do is new to me. That's sort of the whole point of this channel. But next week, maybe the week after, I'm going to have a specific type of video where I'm going to be... It's not going to be a vlog. I'm going to be discussing a certain topic in forensic psych, because I want to start doing something informative outside of just sharing the complexity of life through my vlogs. I also want to do something informative in the form of... I feel like this is crooked. Can't tell if I'm any less crooked. Something more informative by discussing a particular topic in the forensic field that people might not know a lot about, and I hope that it will help sort of bridge the gap between the field itself and the way people interpret it. I'm specifically going to be, for that video, I'm going to be talking about automatism. I think in the future I'm also going to do a video on insanity pleas, which I specifically think that The general population has a particular way of thinking about it, and it causes a lot of people to become upset, like, oh, these people got away with this horrific crime. But I sort of want to, not to say that that's not always, well, it's definitely not always the case, but not to say that that never happens, but I sort of want to inform people so that way maybe informing your opinions about things that happen, you can sort of understand where the decision came from in the legal system, as opposed to just being like, oh, it's all unfair. Because prior to my education in this field, there were times where certain parts of legal decisions seemed very unfair to me, and now that I'm learning more about why those decisions are the way that they are, I'm still not entirely happy with them, but at least I can have somewhat of an understanding of why things are the way that they are, and I'm not just kind of angry at the world. So yeah, if there are any specific topics in the forensic legal, I mean, I'm not in law school, so I can't give you particular insight into certain legal issues, but anything in the forensic field, I can give some insight on. I need to stop going on tangents, but I'm slightly bothered by the fact that I'm not centered in between the bookshelves, but that's also just because where my desk is not centered there, just by way of how it had to be. But yeah, if you have any specific topics that you want me to discuss in the forensic field, I would be happy to look into it and do a video on it. It might take a while for some of them if I just don't feel like I have the right level of education on it, because I don't want to put anything out there that I don't feel adequately educated in, because I don't want to spread false information. That's the last thing I want to do. I really just want to help people have a better understanding of things that might cause a lot of feelings internally, whether it be confusion or anger or anything like that. I just want to help people understand why the system is the way that it currently is, and sort of start a dialogue about that. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, if you've made it to this point, thank you for watching. I'm sorry for all the tangents I go on. Sort of when I start talking, I just keep going. And I have a lot to say, but I think that will probably be good, because then I can have some longer videos. I apologize that my videos haven't been longer. I'm, as you know, new to this. This is a new beginning for me. Or if you like the shorter length, let me know. I mean, I can absolutely stop myself from talking for 100 years if you hated this. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time for another new beginning. Bye!